I just want to welcome everybody to this amazing YouTube Live that we have this week. Now, each week, we do have a new Facebook Live that is coming on up. So in the next couple of weeks, we got some really interesting people who are going to be joining us. We're going to be learning about bit paper. We're going to be learning about the law. And what the legal stuff is. So lots of really exciting things that are happening. And you definitely want to join us live because it's a lot more fun. We have a party together and we have a lot of fun. So definitely join us. Now, if you are just joining us right now, please make sure to introduce who you are and at any point ask questions about Facebook Live. I am super excited because today we've got three incredible women with me that have gone through this process of using Facebook Live and are here to really share their experiences of what using this resource and this tool is like for themselves. Now, one of the really cool things, you guys, is that Facebook Live, I really feel like the more live people go, that it is going to increase the amount of students that they get in the 2019 year. Okay, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, all of these platforms, they are utilizing live, and there's a reason for it. People watch lives more often than they watch anything else. So it is increasing, people are sharing it more, and people are absolutely loving the live. So the more live you go, guess what? The more students you're going to get. That's my prediction. We're going to see if this comes true. I don't know, as with any prediction, you have no idea, but I'm making the prediction. So we're going to be tracking it. We're actually going to be doing a Facebook Live 20-day challenge in January. And you can sign up inside of the link for the comments. If you go to where I have the description, there is a link where you're going to be able to copy that link and sign up to come join us. You get all the information on how to join us for that challenge. And I'm going to be tracking during that challenge how many people get students from doing that, or leads, or anything that happens. So definitely join us for that. It's going to be a very exciting challenge. All right. Now, again, I'm just going to re-say, if you guys are just joining us, type in who you are, where you're from, what you tutor, and then at any point that you have a Facebook Live question, please ask that question. All right, so we've got the first person we have in the house is brand new to using Facebook Live. What I love is that she didn't allow that fear to stop her from moving forward and just trying it out. And you know what? I think that we can all give kudos to people who are just willing to just go out there, jump on in, and try something out. So we've got Jean in the house today. Woo, woo. Hey, Jean.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So, yes. So I did my first Facebook Live in this space last week or just a few days ago. But I actually have done Facebook Live in the past in other businesses, and I had done a challenge with that as well. So I teach children with dyslexia, and Facebook Live is so awesome. It's so much fun. It's even better than taking a million takes on your video. You just do it, you get it done, and you're done. Whatever it is what it is.
Yep. Exactly. And that's really the key. And so tell us about the Facebook Live that you did the other day.
Oh, the other day. Well, I had been kind of thinking in my head that I'm getting a page started and a brand new group, and I don't have anybody. I know who my target audience is, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm going to let Facebook do its thing and put it out there in the feed. And I was in the grocery store, and I was thinking, well, okay, what exactly do I want to do? Well, I need to introduce and whatever. So I just was so pumped. I came in, I didn't even put my groceries away. I walked over and I'd come in from the gym. I sat down, turned it on, boom, went right through it, turned it off. I mean, it's like if you're in the moment, if it's in your head and you just have something and it's all you're pumped about it, that's the time to sit down and do it.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And have you had any views from like how many people like ended up viewing that video that you did?
Well, I have a few people that are on that page. They're not exactly my target audience, but they actually have viewed it, and it's actually I haven't really looked recently, but just a few. But there's some other legwork I need to do.
Yeah. Awesome. That's fantastic. Now, I've also heard that if you go on just even on your private page, I mean, on your your like Jean Harville page, like your just regular
Personal.
Facebook
Yeah, your
page,
personal page.
your personal page, that people will actually, more people will actually be able to view your YouTube live as well. So
yeah, and that's great as long as you're not pushing sales or anything like that, because Facebook doesn't want you to do that. But yes, definitely, I'm gonna put one over there, and I'm going to invite them over to see the live on my page. So there's some legwork I'm going to do in trying to get people to come over and see me.
Yeah. Because you're just introducing them to the group right now. I mean, it's not even a matter of really being about sales or any of that kind of stuff. It's about joining the group and really being able to offer something of value to people. So I think that's really awesome. Well, congratulations. You know what? Sometimes it's all about getting over that initial fear of going live and just doing it. And you did it. So well done. Well done. Now we have another new person in our group, and Patricia has just been doing some really incredible things. And she actually teaches EFL. And so she helps people from other countries be able to speak English better. And I've been watching her YouTube lives. I've been so impressed because she really has a systematic way of going about her lives. She's very planned. She's very thoughtful on the content that she's going to be working on. And she's constantly engaging the people that she is that are in the chat, which I absolutely love. Speaking of engaging people in the chat, we've got Ann Mitchell in the house. Woo woo! She teaches reading. She's located in Castle Rock, Colorado. And we've got Robin. She's from Lockport, New York, and she tutors physics. So awesome stuff. So we've got Patricia in the house. Patricia, tell us about what your experience has been with your Facebook Lives.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my experience has been a lot of fun, more fun than I expected it to be. I was definitely afraid and nervous after, thinking, should I do it? Should I not? But, fear to the side, I just went ahead, did the first one, and it was a lot of fun. People really do enjoy interacting in that live space. So as soon as you start getting people asking questions and making comments and putting LOLs in, I mean, it like you said, it turns into a party. And, it's fun for me and fun for my students.
Yeah. So tell us about how you set it up. I noticed that you kind of had like specific things that you were trying to almost teach as you were going through your live. How do you set up your lives?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one of my biggest fears is that I would sit down to do this live and I would have nothing to say. And I would just be staring at the camera, hoping someone would ask me a question. So I was basically trying to come up with a way for that to never, ever happen to me. So I come up with like a very loose agenda for the event. And what I do is I probably post the event maybe 4 or 5 days before it's going to happen. I let people know what the theme for that event is going to be. Sometimes I even provide them content to give them a little bit of background information about what I'm going to talk about. So then they might have more questions to ask me. And then I just kind of stick to the plan. I start with a little bit of introductions, tell me who you are, where you're from. And from there, I just ask if they have any general questions about English, because for most of them, that's really the valuable part. They just have questions that they want immediate answers to. And, if that dies down or if there's a lull in that, then I have some theme or topic that I plan to talk about. And that always makes sure that like I don't run out of things to say.
Yeah.
So it's Say that again?
That could be a big fear of a lot of people.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to be a deer in the headlights staring at the camera. So, last week, for example, I noticed that, a lot of students want to have conversations with me, but they say, hi, how are you? And then they just don't say anything after that. So I figured, how about let me do a theme about how to extend a conversation, how to keep a conversation going. And that's what I ended up talking about in between their questions about English.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like a really great way to kind of like lay it out and really organize it and make it useful and valuable for everybody who is there.
Right.
Oh, we've got Margarita in the house. She says she is from Spain. She teaches ESL and she is a Spanish tutor. Welcome to the group. We're glad that you guys are here. Make sure if you do have questions about Facebook Live, you enter them on in here because we are going to go into a whole question answer bout here, and you get to ask people who've actually been on Facebook Live about their experiences or any questions that you have, so that we can make sure that we are being valuable to you and helpful with your business. Just a reminder as well, we do have that training that's going to be happening. It's a training and a Facebook challenge, Facebook Live challenge. What I'm going to be doing with that is I am going to be using Facebook Live as the challenge. So each day I'm going to be on Facebook Live, and I am going to give you a different thing to think about, a topic to do a Facebook Live on, suggestions, ideas, and it's really just going to be huge and motivating. It's going to be like an entire online tutor blitz out there on the month. So come join us for that. But you started making some really good, I noticed you really seem to start making some really positive relationships, Patricia, with some of the people that are in the group. Like they were coming not to just one live, but several lives. Their names were kind of coming on up. And so it's giving you the opportunity to really build that likability and that trust. Tell us about that piece of it.
Yeah, I really think that when people see you in a live atmosphere, it feels more intimate and more real to them. It's not like a scripted YouTube video or something like that. So, the fact that you can respond immediately to things that they say, they type things and you have no idea what they're going to say. So your response is really authentic. Like when I laugh out loud, I'm really just laughing out loud at what someone just typed. So I definitely think that people can kind of feel like they get to know you, your personality a little bit better. And the other thing I've noticed is similar to what you were saying, people who might show up to my Facebook Live whose names I don't recognize, I'll later see them on the page engaging with other posts because, they feel a little bit more connected now. So they're invested in the page overall and they participate more.
Oh, what a great tip for advice. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. And you mentioned too that you are advertising and letting people know ahead of time that you're going to be doing these Facebook Lives. Do you feel like you get more live participation during your lives because of that?
I think so. I think when I post the event, a lot of times one student will tag another student, letting them know, hey, this is going on. So that's kind of how they share the information, or they might share it other ways that I don't even realize, because new people show up that I don't recognize, and it must be a friend of a friend or something.
That's so awesome. You are really beginning to build that online presence. And that is so critical. And this is like the easiest way to build that online presence, right? Because you turn the camera on and you go. Like you said, it's not like you have to plan it out word for word. You don't have to sit there and you can engage other people into that conversation. And it's almost like they're getting tutoring in a way with you guys, but they don't have to be seen. It's almost like a really safe way to be able to try it out and practice.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, because being on video for some people, that is a little bit uncomfortable at first. So for you to put yourself out there and they can still stay in their safe zone behind the keyboard, gives them a chance to interact with you without, exposing themselves more than they're comfortable with.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you. All right, we're going to hear from now. We've got Suzanne Davis. Suzanne is an academic writing coach, and she has been doing some really awesome stuff with helping college students with being able to write different college papers and all of that kind of great stuff. And so I asked her to come on out. She's been doing Facebook Live for a really long time now, and it really started to pay off on the side of her business. Suzanne, how long have you been doing Facebook Lives now?
Since I believe last January. Yes, last January, because I started right after New Year's.
Yeah. And what was that experience like right off the bat in the beginning? How did you feel about it?
Well, I prepped for it. Yeah, I'm an over planner. So I had my concept down, which was all at that time about setting goals for the new year. And so I planned out like what my points were about that, what my content would be. I also planned a hook. And I planned at different point questions that I was going to ask, because I wouldn't just go through a point, but I'd have like, okay, here's a question that's going to relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then really just knowing at the end my call to action. So my call to action most of the time is to share and like the video because I'm trying to build brand awareness. Last week it was to sign up for a free online consultation, but I always know what that is. So having my framework really ahead of time and just a basic agenda helped me feel more confident going live.
Yeah.
Because I'm just one of those people who's an introvert and nervous to begin with being on camera. So.
Right. So even if you're introverted, you could use this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I have a basic way in which I kind of script things, set up my agenda, and I use that most of the time. I've gotten away from it more and more, but it's really
like I've gotten more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
That is really, really awesome. So you didn't feel comfortable at first doing it. What made you decide to get out of that comfort zone and just go for it and do it?
Because I was watching people do Facebook Live. It's something that engages me. And I thought, being a tutor, one of the things that I always want to be able to show people is how I teach.
Yeah.
And you can do that ideally through Facebook Live. You know, I think of it almost as a lot of times a mini lesson.
Yep.
Or a behind the scenes look at how to do something related to writing. And all of those things really show who I am as a tutor. So when people are engaging with me on my Facebook page, or most of the time I get messages, like I just got from last week's Facebook Live, 3 people requesting consultations. So
yes,
it's wild. But that was for last week's, you know, my call to action was, if you want help with your research paper, sign up for a free consultation.
Now, do you find that when you put that call to action out there, you get more people requesting your services versus when you don't put that out there?
Well, I don't put it out there all that often. Most of the time it's a share and like, but I do get a lot of people that will do that as the call to action. And then I've been getting people messaging me just because I've been doing this now months. You know, they'll watch one or they'll really like one and they'll be requesting my services. So it's like this past month, I get people all of a sudden. I've been doing this since February or January last year.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. And so this is working. Like, you are getting clients because of the Facebook Lives that you are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's just the biggest payoff, really. And I enjoy it with them and they enjoy it with me.
Yeah. And you're getting clients from all over the world. So where are some of the clients that you've gotten? Where are they located around the world?
Well, my first one through Facebook Live was from Norway. Now, this past week, I have somebody who was watching me from, that's from Libya. So I've had, you know, different European countries. I think that was really the first one from Libya. But yeah, it's good. But the time zone means that I will sometimes do this Facebook Live and those people will watch it in replay because they're not on that same time zone, but they seem to like that it's live and they seem to like that they can respond and ask questions during that.
Yeah.
That I come back to it. So there's a lot that happens on replay.
Yeah, and that's such a good point, because it's not just during the live that people are watching this, right? People are also watching this in a replay format. And so you get the people that are live, and sometimes those numbers are low, a lot lower than you would think. You know, you'd be like, oh, you know, I have 0 people watching me right now, and here I am going live. It feels weird. And everybody starts with 0 because nobody's on yet, right? So that's one of the things to really like keep in mind is you have to get it going. You have to be talking. Otherwise, there's going to be nobody who is saying anything. and it's going to be blank. And then you get one view and you're like, oh, I should probably be saying something. So you want to have something like kind of scripted in your head of what you're going to say. And you said you start off kind of with a hook. Now, do you repeat that hook when people join onto your live?
No, usually what I do is the hook might be a question. It's something that directly relates to what this live is going to be about. A lot of times I'll use my empathy map. So, it could be, are you nervous about writing research papers or something just really quick that gets at, this is their question. This is what this Facebook Live is going to help with.
Yeah.
So I have that quick question, and then I go into it a little bit deeper, and then what they're going to get out of it, what I'm going to teach them, and how it's going to benefit them.
Awesome. And that's pivotal too. They want to know, like, well, what does this have to do with me, right? Like, how is this going to help me and what I need to be able to accomplish? So the fact that you're mentioning that for them is fantastic, because that's going to keep them on longer.
Yes, it does. Because if you're just starting something at the time and, people have showed up live and you're just doing, hey, hi, let me know where you're from, I'll get started in a few more minutes. You're not honoring the people who show up exactly on times, their time too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got to keep them wanting to see something.
Exactly. And that's why, like, when you guys see this, when you see the YouTube lives, it's exactly how I start. I just start chit-chatting right away. I start telling you like what you're about to expect to see. And, there's no dead air time, because in replay, that looks really bad. Now you can edit inside of the YouTube format, but you can't edit when you're inside of Facebook Live. There's no editing tool in there, is there?
Not as of now. No,
when that baby replays, it's replaying exactly the way it was.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing what your experience was like with being able to get it, and the amazing results that you're getting because of it. That's really, really awesome. So we're going to open this up right now to just some basic questions about Facebook Live, and you guys can just pop on in at any point in time. I did mute you guys because we had a little bit of feedback going on. So I muted, but I'm pretty sure you guys can unmute. So we're going to just check that real quick. Patricia, can you unmute yourself? We're just going to check that. Or did I?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you sure can. So here's what I ask. When you guys are not sharing, that you just mute yourself. When you are sharing, unmute yourself. That way we won't have as much feedback happening on the replay for people who are going to watch it. So what are some of the basic first things when somebody's thinking about doing a Facebook Live that they should take into account? And this is up for grabs, ladies.
Well, I think...
Yep, go ahead.
One thing. I just think, this is very, very basic, but think about what your ideal audience, your ideal client, what do they want? What would they find valuable? So, for my ideal client, I know that they want to hear the American accent. They want to hear, the pronunciation of certain words, and they want answers to English questions. What does this expression mean? What does this slang word mean? Things like that. So I kind of start with that framework and then try to hone in on certain things for each event within that space.
Awesome.
Yeah, again, that your audience, who are you speaking to? And I'm going to be speaking to parents, and you're using that empathy chart and figuring out how are they feeling about their child falling behind or struggling, and being able to give them those tips and those things that they can do on, right away to help. I think that that's really important. And then maybe even just mapping out a few ideas, like Suzanne was saying, just some ideas for you to hit upon.
Yeah. And by the way, you guys have to check out Jean's YouTube channel. She's putting out an amazing series about solutions to reading problems. And it's incredible. Like, I was just like cheering her on as I was watching. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Woo, go. And I think that's the most beautiful part about us as online tutors, even though we tutor the same thing, that we can support each other with our online tutoring businesses and our videos. And we can help each other with those videos getting shared and liked and all that wonderful stuff. So well done, Jean, with all of the stuff that you've been doing with video. You've been doing awesome. Now, Anne is curious. She wants to know, are there specific programs you can use with Facebook Live, or can you do without any of those tools?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I started off with nothing out with just going live. And I did that, I would say, for about 4 months before I decided to test out Be Live. And it's Be Live TV. And that I like because I have more engagement tools that I can use with that. For example, I can type out my agenda, and then I can show the different themes or the different questions or the different bullet points to the audience right on the video, which I find is helpful because people want to see something sometimes other than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked Be Live TV. I like that you can put comments up on the screen. And I like that the version I have will let me do 4 videos a week free. And then I can do a talk show if I want to, and I can do an interview if I want to with that. And I like being able to do the interviews. I have a lot of fun interviewing other tutors about what they do. And I find that that's a nice, different way to approach Facebook Live, you know, not just the same Q&A just with me. So I would recommend a tool that will let you do different things like interviews. I know that some people use OBS, which is Open Broadcasting Software. And I think that's what Ashley and Victoria use. And you can and they can do interviews with that. I found it a little bit harder. I found it really hard for me. So Be Live is just really simple, but
it is. You know, it's just like it's one of those drag and drop plug-in easy tools to be able to utilize. You can schedule it ahead of time, and you can. It just makes it really, really easy. And I love, like you said, I also love that you're able to bring in the comments of what people are saying onto the screen. People can see those comments directly. And so even in replay mode, they know what it is. My problem is I have to remember to take those comments off. I leave them on there too long. But it's a work in progress, right? You guys, you learn as you go when you're doing these lives.
Oh, and the other reason I would recommend that tool is because you can schedule it ahead of time, and you can take that link and you can share that link into a Facebook group that you've created so that you are playing that video in 2 or 3 or however many different places you want it to show on Facebook.
Right. And that's awesome.
Live. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
It gives you a little bit more freedom with who gets to see it too. Like, it just kind of opens up the doors of who can see it.
Right. And so when I do an interview, this is really wonderful because I give the link to the person I'm interviewing. So it's on my page, it's on that person's page, and, you know, more people are seeing the interview for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets, and it just, it does really great things for not only promoting you, but also promoting that other tutor. And I think the more that tutors can collaborate in this kind of a fashion, I think it would do some really awesome things for their business. So I love what you're doing. I think it's awesome. It's going to help not only you with getting more clients, it's going to help the other people that are doing the interviews, because everybody seems like an expert when they are interviewed, don't they? They just always rise to the occasion, and they sound so good. I want to hire every single one. I'm like, oh, I want to hire her. If I had a student struggling with that, I'd hire her. I'm like, wait a minute, you kids aren't struggling with that. Oh, so it's crazy, crazy, crazy. I love it. I love it. It's really, really awesome. Anybody else use any other tools?
Nope, I've only used Facebook Live, and it works for me right now. You know, in the future, like Suzanne, maybe I'll try to experiment with some other things. But for now, Facebook Live alone, it works.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, great tool. I love it.
What I do is I use my phone, but I also have a selfie tripod, so it's not shaking and moving around. And so it's a stationary tool, stationary, and it gives me a chance to move around the way I want to without actually moving the camera. So that's one of the tools that I use as a selfie tripod.
Awesome. So it's a selfie tripod, and is it different? I don't have mine here. Zion. Yours is in.
Can you see it?
Yes. So you don't have the. Yeah, it's like the gimbal.
And it opens up.
And
then it extends.
Yep.
And it can turn. So it's just really cool because I can put my camera at any height. I can stand up. I can sit down. I just have it behind my camera.
Right.
I mean, my computer. So it makes it.
And another tool, if you're going to be just using the Facebook Live, like not going into another platform or anything, is to have like something like a gimbal, or I think mine's got a weird name. It's a Zion, but it allows you to have the. It's like $100 for it, but it allows you to have something in front of you. And when you are moving or when you're walking, it takes it like a professional video, and you don't have any of that shaking that's happening because you're utilizing it. So that's pretty cool too. And people kind of like those like out in public videos. You just see them have a lot more when you can kind of get out of your office and have those people seem to engage a little bit more with some of that as well, which is kind of neat. Now, we had another question, which was, how long does your Facebook Live usually last? Now, I know you just did one, Jean. How long was yours that you did?
Okay. I think it was only about 7 or 8 minutes. It wasn't really long. And I just think just getting on and getting off. And, I didn't really have anybody viewing it, but that's okay because it was just an intro. And so when I start up, I'm going to start up next week with a series. And so when I do that, then it's going to be a little more meaty and be on a little bit longer.
Awesome. That's a great idea. Great tool. And getting people engaged and thoughtful and thinking about it ahead of time. Awesome. And then you'll also be able to promote it more too with the people that are going to, that could possibly come on in and join you, which will be great. How about you, Patricia? How long did yours last?
Yeah, so I actually have a funny story about this. My very first one, which I was terrified about, I was like, I can only commit to 30 minutes and that is it. That is the most I can give them. So that's all I did. And the beginning, I have to tell you, my first one was like a little bit of a disaster getting started. It was so stressful and I got through it. And at the end, when I said, okay, we're going to wrap up, they were sending me comments like, what, you're leaving us already? No, stay. So since then, I've been doing hour-long Facebook Live events, and it sounded so intimidating, but it really just flies by. If you just have a little bit of a plan, a little bit of structure, it's really not that hard to fill an hour of time, I've found.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How about you, Suzanne? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
It really depends. I noticed initially I went with a plan of between 20 to 30 minutes. I changed that a little bit so that now I go towards 20 minutes and then I'm okay with 15 to 20. And it's because I'm doing writing. And I don't want to spend a really long time on a writing lesson or something where you're not actually seeing the writing.
Right.
I use Be Live and that lets me highlight points and things. And so I can show those on the screen. But I really try to be conscious of the content I'm conveying and how long a person can attend to that.
Sure.
Really.
Right. Yeah.
So like, I'll do 3 or 5 tips about how to write this or how to write a hook or something like that. And then so however long it takes to cover that, but I usually find it's about 20 minutes. However, I do shorter ones. So like today, I probably will go on in this evening, and it will just be something really quick where I'm sort of previewing what's coming up next week. And then I'm also going to ask them a question as to what Facebook Live videos would they like to see coming up, what topics. And so that's just one of those short ones where I'm just sort of feeling things out and just trying to get their interaction really and see what they contribute.
Yeah.
And I find that that's a little bit more engaging than when you just do a photo post of like, what are your questions?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
there's when I was kind of doing research on this question, they were saying like 20-minute ones are the best ones to do. But I really think it's going to differ on your ideal client and their attention spans and what it is that they're looking for. You know, it really is you have to take everything into consideration, not just the numbers that somebody throws on out that this is what they've seen to be effective, but what you're noticing inside of your group. Like if people are starting to drift off and you're noticing like all of a sudden after 20 minutes, like everybody's like pretty much gone, you know, you've lost them, right?
Yeah. Look at those insights. That's going to guide you more, I think, into how you plan than anything else. And the insights, right, in how long people view it, not just in the reach. I don't find the reach number as useful, but I find that they'll give you an engagement bar, and that's really helpful. They'll tell you the average amount of time that people have watched it. And those help me figure out, okay, well, I'm covering this kind of topic, and this is really the point at which most people were engaged, or here's where I start to lose people. And that's when I found that if I did 10 tips of something, that was just too many to do.
Sure. Yeah, what a great.
And an interview goes longer because there's that interaction and people start asking questions of the interviewees too. So it's different for me.
Yeah. What a great point. What a great point. Yeah. And so being able to use those insights is really useful. Now, where can people find those insights? Where are they located?
All right. If you just go onto your Facebook page, your business page, you'll see like right across the top, there's, you know, the page, your inbox, and then one of the ones is insights. So click on that, and then you can click on the videos, and you can look exactly at how long people watched the video and the engagement it got, you know, how many people were liking it, sharing it, and the reach it had.
And that's a great way to know, like, that's a really great way to know your audience. So that's a great tool to be able to use. Thanks for mentioning that. That's awesome. Yes, and Mitchell just mentioned that the new GoPro is pretty cool if you want to do some sort of a vlog. So yeah, if you want to be able to use a GoPro to be able to do something like this, yeah, that would be pretty cool. We also, let's see. Terry Grigsby is curious to know, how did you do a live event for math and who would watch?
Am I unmuted?
Nope. You're good.
Okay. All right. So for math. All right. So I'm terrible at math. So I would probably be really good, Terry, to do a Facebook Live for. Just like a quick thing on how to succeed at, you know, understanding this sort of equation or mastering fractions, and then tips you can give to do that. How can you solve it? Or, you know, how to, even something more general, like the things you need to know to succeed in college math or something like that is good. You could do a series on an area of math. I like series. Like right now, I have one more episode of a research paper series, and that's good because you could do it as a series of workshops almost. And with her, she can have a board, you know, just take a whiteboard and just start doing stuff, because people do that all the time, and that's very visual.
Yeah. And another thought too is that if you take the same, it can be like the same math problem, and you look at it 3 different ways. Like, okay, here is how we can take a look at what this like looks like from a hands-on perspective. this is what it looks like from a visual perspective. And here's how you can tackle this problem from like more of a just looking at the numbers and letters or whatever it is. Here's how you can look at it from an abstract method. And I think once people can see that there's 3 ways to see the same exact problem, holy cow, like some pretty amazing things could happen as a direct result of that. And series, like you guys have mentioned, series are great. They make everything a lot easier in life to be able to plan your content, because you can sit down in an hour and you can say, okay, I'm gonna do a series on this. And then you can brainstorm like 10 different things that you could be really talking about. And now you've got the next 10 weeks planned out because you did that. And it makes it really easy. And then all you have to do is really then concentrate on each one of those topics when you do it. Just like the math anxiety that you did. Your math anxiety is phenomenal. You could do something like your math anxiety as a Facebook Live. You could repurpose that same exact content that you did in YouTube, but repurpose it for a Facebook Live. I think that would be really, really cool, really, really awesome. So absolutely. I mean, math is everywhere inside of our lives, you know, that absolutely you would have people that are going to end up showing up. But there is a key to it, I think. I think you do have to, you know, begin getting people following your page. You do have to let them know that you're going to be doing the live and advertise it. And then let people know if you've got an email list. Everywhere you can try to gather, you know, people before you do your live, you're going to have more success than if you just go live, right? If you just go live and nobody knows about it, you're going to get whoever happens to be on their device at that point in time. Whereas if people plan for it and they put it on their calendar, they can join you live. What are some suggestions, Jean or Patricia, that you have for Terry?
That's a good question. I actually, so I used to teach math a while ago, and, you know, it was never in a format like this, but, you know, I definitely think that your idea about showing one problem and multiple different approaches is actually something I used to do in the classroom a lot, because I think that there are still some math classrooms where they teach this is the way to do it, and there's really no alternative given to the student. And one method does not work for every student. That just, it never works that way. So some kids either just get lost by the wayside, or someone has to give them another method that works better for them. So, yeah, you know, I would probably think about some of the things that students commonly struggle with. Like, I always saw high schoolers who still didn't understand integers, still didn't understand fractions, still didn't understand basic like 2-step equations, or more advanced students, maybe they're doing quadratic equations. And, you know, there can be multiple approaches to things like that. So you could try something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Perhaps talk about organizational skills and how you can organize your work. You can maybe talk about the emotions of, I know Terry, I just saw one of Terry's videos talking about the emotions of it, how to organize, how to, I don't know, just sort of that part of it, not necessarily the actual solving of a problem, but there's other things that you could talk about around that. Mm-hmm. like the math anxiety series, how you can squash that anxiety by being more whatever that answer is.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I was just reading a very interesting statistic, you guys, that said that there are 2 billion people on Facebook, and there's only 1 billion people on YouTube. Okay, so what's interesting about that is that there's at least 1 billion people out there who probably haven't even seen that YouTube video, right? So you never have to worry about like, oh, well, if I'm like using the same content that I've used somewhere else, then, you know, people aren't going to want to watch it because they've already seen it. And that just isn't the case. There's just a different audience that you're going to be reaching by taking that content and repurposing it in another way. Now, Robin had a great question. She said, well, let's say you don't really have a following yet, right? Like you don't have anybody that you can really let the word out there know that you have this Facebook Live going. What are some things that you can do? Now, I know in the beginning, Suzanne, everybody starts with a following of 0, right, Suzanne? Oh, you're on mute. There we go. Wait, nope. You're on mute. There we go.
Okay. My first week, I just begged people to show up, my friends. You know, I was just like, show up, I'm going live, please, and please, 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 and begged. And that was good for those first few things, but I didn't want to keep relying on my friends to just show up.
Right.
So it really was, like Patricia mentioned, creating that event, because people can search through Facebook by keywords for the event. So be promoting it on your page and elsewhere. I like also messenger bots. I don't use them every time I have a live because I worry about over messaging people on Messenger. But those are really good. I find that the combination of Facebook Live with messenger bots has helped me grow my email too, because I can send them links to the freebie and things like that. Contact your mailing list. You know, I've created a post up for my Google business page. So they'll let you upload social media posts. I put it on Twitter that I'm having a Facebook Live. And because I use BeLive and I schedule that ahead of time, then I send out, after I've created the event, you know, it's like a day before the video airs, then I have it scheduled and I'm still promoting the video. So think of multiple ways to grow it, but also don't worry about the fact that people may not be there. Think of the replay. Always think of that replay, because that's the key. Where you're going to get a lot of traffic is that point.
Absolutely. That replay is what's going to get a ton of people on there. So definitely think about the replay, so that don't think about nobody showing up to your live and it being a dud. Instead, think about how many people are going to see it afterwards. Now, you guys, this is exactly how I got started. I don't know if you guys ever know this, but like back in 2011, 2012, I can't remember which, I think it was 2012, I started like thinking, you know, now that I have my own business solid, I want to be able to help other tutors be able to build their business too. So I started using Google Hangouts, which is I'm using right now. I was using Google Hangouts because it would go right to YouTube and I wouldn't have to upload it. And I love that. And so I would let people know ahead of time, but sometimes I would have nobody show up. And I was like, that's all right. You know what? At the end of the day, it's going to be on YouTube and that replay is going to be there. And that replay was extremely powerful for me to be able to build my following of people. So that definitely think about the replay because that's going to be huge. What about Patricia or Jean? What are some things that you can, what are suggestions you have about if you don't really have a list of how you can get the word out there?
Well, one of the things is that you can be active in other Facebook groups where your ideal clients are or your ideal audience is, and just go in and just be a human and just interact in that group. And then you can, you know, say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be giving some homework tips, you know, for whatever your subject is, you know, come join me on my page.
Yep. Perfect.
And, yeah.
I love it.
That, yeah. So you do that on your personal, you do that in other Facebook groups that there's some groups that allow promotional stuff. And so on those days you can put it in there, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, again, like just let everybody who is already following you on your social media, let them know, because they may have kids that are struggling in the area that you teach, or your friends may want to support you. So let them do that in the beginning here. Yes, they are going to lose steam at the end. You know, they're not going to support you every single day for every single live you do, but in the beginning, they can be that rah-rah cheering team for you to be able to give you that vote of confidence as you get started with this, which is fantastic. So we're going to end this today with thinking about what are the best tips that you guys have for people that are just getting started. They've never done a Facebook Live before. What are some tips that you guys have for them?
Go ahead, Patricia.
Okay. I think the couple things I would say is, first of all, it's okay to be scared. Okay. I am by no means fearless. I was terrified the first time and I just did it anyway. Okay. It's called courage. It's not called fearlessness. You're scared, but you just do it anyway. Start with something small and manageable and give it a shot. Okay. like I said before, my first one was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but people still showed up. They still engaged, and it was by far the most popular post that I had on my page to that date. So even if it's not perfect, even if it's not what you hope, it can still do really good things for your page. The other thing I would say is, just to echo what Jean was saying, Facebook groups have really been a gold mine for me. I mean, if you go into these groups, and particularly the groups that I go into, a lot of them are not run by an English teacher. They're not run by a native speaker. So they really do need help in terms of a model of the English language that they can follow. So you go in there, offer something of value, don't ask for anything in return. Like she said, just be human. And some of them do allow promotions. If they do, great, take advantage of that. If they don't, to say, hey, I'm giving this free event, and this free event doesn't involve you selling your services, I think that's perfectly fine to offer. You're just giving them something for free. So take advantage of it. It's a great way to build relationships with people. And that's how I ended up with people on my Facebook page. You know, I started with 0, just like everyone else. And I just started to get some people trickling in just from the interactions that I had in these Facebook groups. So take advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Any other tips?
Smile. Really, because you probably will be nervous that first time you're doing it. And just every time you are nervous, just smile. Because eventually that does kick in and you do start to feel more comfortable. So also just imagine somebody you know you're speaking to. It could be a past student, it could be a friend or a colleague or a parent, whatever your ideal client is, but just think of somebody in the past and imagine you're talking to that one person. Yeah. Instead of you're talking to a whole group of people all over Facebook. Think of talking to one person that you know really well and you know how you would explain things.
Yeah, for sure. Great tip. Great tip.
Yeah. And just do it. If you have to prepare a lot, or go ahead and prepare, you know, make yourself feel as confident as you can. Wear your favorite color, or, you know, if you have, I have a lucky elephant in the background here. Oh, I collect elephants. So usually I'll have an elephant in my videos. Anything that's going to make you feel good and confident and comfortable doing it, do that and just have fun with it. Don't make it overly complicated.
Right.
Do you know, actually, because you can't see your audience, that makes it good. Because you only see yourself. And you really, I mean, if I saw all the people watching me, I would be more nervous. Right. But you just do it. So you just get on, you have a thought in your head, just open the mic and just go for it. Now, I do agree with the planning it out ahead of time, letting people know that you're going to be going live. I really like that idea. And then when it's time, you just do it.
Yep, absolutely. Now we got one last question in the house here before we head on out. And Terry had asked, why is going live better than planning out your video, knowing exactly what you're going to say and doing that? For some reason, I feel like people watch it longer, even though you talk longer sometimes. Like, they don't want to hear you babble, obviously. They do want to hear you share some really great content. But there's something that I think is very authentic about the live experience, that people are maybe not 100% as planned, yet they are methodical about how they go about it. The replays just end up getting more. Why? I don't know. I wish I had like the theory on like why do these replays? Most of my YouTube channel that I've been doing live, I get more views on my lives than anything else that I put on out there. So the numbers certainly concur that going live is a great thing. What are some of your thoughts, you guys, about why is going live better than a planned video?
Because go ahead. Because the people who show up are part of it. It's an experience. and you're building community in a way you don't necessarily when you have something that's pre-recorded. Even if it's on replay, because there are people who are on your page and they're asking questions, they get to be a part of that whole experience. It's very social.
And when they watch it on replay, the people's comments as they were showing up, show up, don't they?
Yes. Oh, wait, no, not as they might.
Sort of.
I mean, they're all kind of out there, but they'll show, I think, in reference to time. But it is very community oriented, and people are just really comfortable.
Yeah, and there's no editing, right?
Yes, you know, and
it's so easy. You just shoot it and you're done. You walk away. I'm done. You don't have to edit it. But I think people just really like to have that natural interaction. And when they comment and they, you know, and you speak back to them, it's like, oh, they spoke back to me, you know, and that's exciting. Or if something bad happens or if something falls over, I mean, it's life. They get to see someone else, not all made up just for that. They see someone in the real. And they say, you know what, that person's just like me. They have the same issues that I have. And yeah, I can see that camera falling on me as well, you know, or whatever, because it's real. And that's what people want. They want real.
Yeah, I feel like people are turning more to this type of media than they are to reality TV. You know, they're turning into real people's lives and watching them versus spending countless hours on like reality TV and watching that, although that's still popular, but not as popular as I think as some of this stuff is becoming. It's starting to take over, which is pretty cool. Well, again, I want to remind you guys that in January, we are going to be doing a really awesome Facebook Live challenge. So if you haven't signed up yet, go to the description of this video because there is a link in there where you can join us and stay up to date. I'm going to be sending you guys tips on using Facebook Live throughout whenever you sign up, all the way up until the date of the live. And then I'm going to be continuing to send you more information about the Facebook Live experience as we go through that challenge. So definitely sign up for that so that you can be a part of that challenge and we can share each other's videos and we can help each other out with getting found from all over the world. And that's what it's all about. It's about being able to find your ideal clients from the comfort of your living room without having to go anywhere or even having to pay for any of those views. You know, this is all free exposure, and that is the beauty. This is all free. Yet it brings money into your pocket because at some point it does start panning out into real live clients. And don't be afraid to be who you are, you guys, okay? Because everybody has their own personality. You just want to be the best version of you that you can possibly be. Not everybody can be exactly like Suzanne Davis. Not everybody can be exactly like Patricia or Jean, right? You guys all have your different personalities, and I have my own different personality, and people are going to gravitate towards that. So just be the best version of you. Well, thanks for joining us, you guys. If you've liked this, please hit like, please pass this on, share it with anybody else who could benefit from that. It's been wonderful hanging out with you guys, and I will see you next week live at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. We are now in the standard time, so it's CST here. So if you start seeing CST on my messages, it's because we have changed dates and times. So definitely come. Next week, you're going to see a video that talks about time zones. So stay up to date. That's actually mistake number 17, people not knowing about the different time zones, how it affects tutoring and all of that. So tune on in for that, and I will see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.